Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seats. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! Do you enjoy my singing there, Rob? I'm a good singer, right?
That ain't your singing. That sure enough ain't my singing. That's some
It's not.
Chris singing right
It's not
there.
my playing either.
No,
I
that's all
appreciate.
Christy boy. That's all Chris right there.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw you a curveball and say pretty good singing there. But you
Well,
know what? It's a catchy thing, and I find myself singing it all the time.
I started to call him Christy boy, but I can't call him that. I make fun of him enough being my ugly brother-in-law. That's enough. He does a good job. He's a good singer. He's a good player. So we're happy he did that for us.
Oh,
Mm.
absolutely. He
He does
does
a
so
lot
many
for
things
us,
behind the
actually.
scenes. You don't see him on camera too much. He comes in just enough, wishing you that you had him a whole lot more. But the stuff he's doing behind the camera, oh man, we wouldn't be where we're at without him. And
You're
that's
right.
that's just a real blessing. I can't even say enough good things. And he's always afraid he might not be with you because y'all got this family thing going on, and now we're all crew. But he's always so afraid he's going to offend me or hurt my feelings. I'm like, just bring it, man. If you got something to say and you got a critique on how we're doing a show or not doing a show, throw it. We can agree or not agree. Sometimes we agree to disagree. Sometimes I go, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's how you get better.
That's like me and Dave. We don't always agree, you know,
No.
but he's finally come around that I'm the good looking part of this thing. It's taken him some time, you know.
Oh,
What?
you must have been one of them New Orleans Saints fans back in the day. They're putting the bags over their head, the Aints. Well, maybe that's when you got this idea that you were good looking.
No, I see. I ain't never been no Saints fan. So uh, let me put my the head down there a little bit so everybody can see what kind of fan I am. And I know the Saints is NFL, but yeah, no. I kind of had this thing with the NFL there for a while. I've gotten over it, but
Yeah, I know. I think we all have like that. But hey, welcome, Southern Fried Podcast fans, Cornbread Nation. And
yeah,
we're this is an episode of Mama Said. We're going to be talking about that. Hope you had a great Monday. It's been challenging for me starting from the weekend, but we're trying to get some things done. My air went out. I told you that, and we have a guy scheduled to come in. I'm hoping it's tomorrow, but
yeah,
we're making our way. But it's good to be here, and we appreciate our mamas. It's one of our central themes of the Southern Fried Podcast, Rob. And as you were saying earlier off the air, both of our moms are with the Lord now, and we miss
yeah.
them. We miss them. And, we've covered a lot of, there's no shortage, but we've covered so many things that Mama has said. And you said something today, and I'm going to let you run with that because you said, well, I know what we haven't covered this one. And what did you say?
Well, one of the most important things that our mamas ever said to us, and we probably didn't realize it at the time, was when they looked us dead in the eye and told us, I love you. And mama said,
Amen.
I love you.
Amen.
Yes.
And let me just say, as we'll dive into that, I just want to say on the front end, my dad, and I have talked to so many people. I love my dad. He was a great dad. He taught me so many things, but my dad had a real problem, and I've noticed it's a kind of a central theme through a certain generation. And I've talked to so many people around my age. They would say, my dad didn't do that. He didn't say I love you. Now, late in life, me and my sisters talk about this. Dad would finally say, I love you. We worked on it, worked on it, worked on it. We'd say, love you, Dad, hug him. Not, he would hug our necks, and he was very proud of us. He just didn't say that. But Mama, she always said that. And so because of that, pardon me, because of that, when I got married and we were going to have children, I told my wife, I said, I want to always tell my kids I love them, and I always have. And we're on a phone call. It's all they usually say it first. Love you, Dad. And we always say that. I didn't want that to go unsaid, but I never, whatever reason it was, I don't know why that was like that. Uh, but I think they were just raised to be tough. They came through, their parents came through tough
Yeah,
times, through Depression era stuff. We've talked about that. And I think it was just their way to handle the fear and just this drive to put food on the table and whatever, because they had come out of some tough times. And I think probably because of that, they didn't hear it too much.
probably
Don't
not.
know that. Don't know the answer to that. That's just a guess. I'm just assuming, and I may be wrong. But my mom always said that.
Yeah,
Always from, I mean, the earliest days, she always told me that she loved me. And it's been many years now, and that's tough when you don't hear that anymore. And it's true. There's nothing like a mother's love. There's nothing
there's
like
nothing,
it.
and it wasn't just the fact that she said it; she showed it in her actions and everything she did, taking care of us. Uh, if you had a problem, you could take it to Mama. If you know, it was always right there. Now I had kind of a weird relationship with my mother. She was like my big sister because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents even when I was younger, and then I came to live with them. So my grandmother was a lot like my mother,
Yeah.
and so yeah, if I had a problem, I could take it to Grandma, and if I was doing something wrong, Grandma would calm me down on it. But it was out of love. It wasn't out of nothing else. It was out of
Right.
love, care, and concern. So when I lost my grandmother earlier this year, it was like losing Mama all over again for me.
Yeah. It's
So I
tough.
mean, but you know, 99 years old.
Wow.
She was just a few months away from making it to 100. You know, but she was that part of my life for 54, 53 years. You know,
And through this mother's love, them loving us and everything, you mentioned going to them and talking to them about anything. They were a great sounding board.
hmm
They would just listen to you. And they also you could kind of practice, because if it might be something you have to go tell your dad, you practice on mom. Mom, I got to tell dad something. I want to talk to you about it first. And mom would give you tips on, well, don't say it like that or say it this way. But a lot of times moms would step out and say, now he's going to tell you something, but just it's okay. It's like getting the bear to calm down.
yeah,
Feed the bear so that okay, when he tells you, I see my dad, kind of what's going on. He'd be getting all tensed up. My mom say it's okay. I've already talked to him about it, and they would soften the room up. Their moms are great at that. And dads don't want to make moms too mad, because they bring, they're fixing all that food and everything, washing clothes. So you had an advocate right there with your mom.
well, you just called Daddy a bear. But let me tell you something. There's some truth to that old saying about Mama Bear.
Well, it can be,
They
yeah.
might have been a little fear in Daddy on some of that.
Well, they always say Mama Bear comes out if you mess with the kids. That's when
Yeah,
that's that, that's when Mama Bear comes out. But my mom was she had a temper now, because she was Irish. And you talked about your red hair. She was redheaded, and she had temper, but you very rarely seen it. And it was my mom was just she loved everybody. Nobody could say anything ill against her. She was a friend to all. Had a great phone voice. Oh my goodness! There was the guy I knew once. He said, "You are to be in phone sales. You have the best phone voice." But it was just that soothing voice and encouraging voice.
yeah. And in that mama's love, when she said, "I love you," that was always another form of encouragement. Whatever you did that was wrong, you can be sorry for it, and but Mama would still look you dead in the eye and say, "It's okay. I still love you."
Yeah, and my
And that's a
mom
big form of encouragement. It's going to be okay.
my mom taught me a lot. And my mom I was only child for almost 9 years, and then sisters started coming, and spread out. But what she taught us is that not only did she love us, but she loved other kids. And
Mhm.
so she would, cousins or other kids. She was a welcoming soul to other kids, and that really comes. That's her coming through me. I really reach out and try to be an encourager to other kids. And it's a balancing act sometimes,
Oh
your
yeah.
own kids and grandkids, they sometimes they get a little jealous, and you have to tell them, hey, look, we just got to be there for them. We got to help them along. Maybe they don't have somebody, or maybe
Hmm.
it's hard to talk to your own sometimes, and I've had some that have asked me to be their papa or whatever, and I'm glad to do that. And that's really her show, that love that she showed me in telling other kids, hey, I love you. And you know what? I know people that grew up that never heard that. I mean, and I will
Yeah.
say in the breakdown of the family in America, I mean, let's be honest, it's not Ozzie and Harriet anymore. There's a lot of brokenness in America, and I know there was some then, but it's a lot more prevalent now. And there are people that their moms have struggled, and they, like you said, maybe they lived with grandparents or great grandparents. Maybe
Hmm.
nowadays, maybe moms, unfortunately, maybe moms in rehab, or maybe moms even in prison. That those are real things that happen. And so sometimes it's the grandmother stepping in, or it could be an aunt, or whatever. But somebody's got to give that child that, and it's not to say that parent doesn't love them, but they just got issues, they got problems, and they can't be there to tell them I love you all the time. They would still tell them, but they're absent because of circumstances, and they can't tell them all the time. That
Yeah.
a child's got to hear that from mom. Got to hear it.
Yeah, Tar Man.
Yeah,
But
I told you. I told you. Especially from dad. I don't know.
yeah,
We're not that far apart in age. We're pretty close, and it's a truth. I have my own reason. I've mentioned a couple of them why, but I will say this: I knew my dad loved me. He just didn't say it.
yeah,
Not way late in his life did he ever say that. Just dad couldn't show that kind of affection and emotion. His way, dad tickle you. So, that was
yeah.
wrestle you. Punch you in the arm. I mean, that was dad's way. But later in life, he was really good about hugging
Well,
necks and stuff.
my
We made
granddad.
him.
Now, my granddad. And I've talked about this before. He fought all the way across Europe in World War II. And yeah, he came up in that Depression era, some rough times, but he never had a problem saying I love you.
That's awesome.
That was one thing, and that was very awesome. And um, he grew up rough. All right, I am going around, his mom helping on in the fields and stuff like that, and he got passed around a little bit when he was younger to his brothers, and um, it was he had a rough upbringing. You
Yeah.
know, he had to go out in the field and pick cotton after third grade, and
Oh
he got
wow.
paid half wages from what a grown man would get paid, but he had to do just as much work.
Wow.
I remember him talking about that. You know,
you
so
know, and talking about Mama, I can say I talked about her being a sounding board and kind of. I can tell you that there were a couple times where I know that my mom softened the penalty from my dad, softened it without a doubt. Mom just has a way of doing that, and oh, he's learned his lesson. you know, he's going to do better. He's sorry for what he did. I never, honestly, I never had a lot of that. I didn't get in a lot of trouble. I really didn't, but because I knew better. But there were, things here and there.
yeah,
When I say in trouble, I don't mean like, massive trouble. But to my dad, it was massive because attitude or whatever. He didn't like the way I said something, or I guess probably teenager, whatever. But I was a quiet, really quiet young child, and I just listened a lot. I really did. So I stayed out of trouble. I watched a lot of my cousins get in trouble. Oh boy, you
now
know,
my grandmother probably saved my life at least once that I can remember from my granddaddy
yeah,
because we were traveling to Wisconsin to visit my grandmother's mother. Okay, so this is my great grandmother, my grandma Short.
yeah.
But we were going through Chicago. My job on these trips was instigator. Uh, my job on these trips was to navigate. That's my job. Okay. Because I could spot the signs and see them further out. I could read the map in the back seat of the car. So we're going through Chicago. Chicago's a rough town to drive through. Anyway, it's real easy to miss your turns, and I'm on it. I'm on it, Dave. Oh my gosh, my 15-year-old self was on it. That's right, Grandpa. You need to get in the left lane because this turn up here is going to be to the left. Okay, you're going to have to be in the left lane. You need to go ahead and get over now. Oh no, I got plenty of time. Nope, nope, Grandpa, you need to get over now. I'm telling you, it's coming up right here pretty quick. You need to go ahead and get over. No, I got plenty of time. There went your turn. Well, what in the world are you doing back there? Why didn't you tell me to get over? Why didn't it? Why didn't that? Oh my goodness, cuts a highly illegal U-turn in the middle of Chicago. Gets back on his road and just rah, 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 rah. He was just grumbling for about 15 minutes, and I'm just sitting in the back seat just twiddling my thumbs. And my grandmother's looking at Grandpa, and she's kind of cutting her eyes back at me. You know, one of them things, you know. And we get up the road a little bit. We get out of Chicago. He said, "All right, where's my next turn?" And the Atlas came flying up from the back seat to hit him in the back of the head. And he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And my grandmother had tears running down her face. She was laughing so hard. "Don't you say nothing to him. He had every right to do that. He told you to get over. You didn't listen to him." Grandpa got to thinking about it. Then he got tickled. He said, "Where's my next turn?" I said, "I ain't doing it no more." He said, "Would you please?" He said, "I'm sorry. Would you please?" Okay.
I promise you, if I had slung a map from the back seat and hit my dad in the back of the head, it would have been an Olympic trial winner. He'd have been gold medal of pulling over, jumping out of the car, pulling me out, the belt whipping out with one hand like Zorro, and wearing me out before Mama could have got two words out. I'm telling you,
Look,
I would have
there's
never.
a
That
time.
the laughter part would have never happened. My mom might laugh. My dad never would have.
Oh,
There's
look,
Daniel. Daniel's in the house.
there's a time when it's just worth the whooping that you might get.
Oh no, no, no,
Hi
no,
there,
not
sugar
not that.
britches.
I think your job from
Oh,
the back seat. I think Jen's right. I think your job from the back seat was to instigate. That's what I heard. You said navigate, but I think you meant instigate because I think that's what you were
no,
doing.
I told him to get over. He had plenty of time to get over. I mean, I was telling him like 2 or 3 miles before the thing, you got to get over. You got to get over. No, no, I don't have to get over. You got to get over. You're going to miss your turn. No. If I'm going to get in trouble for him missing his turn, when I tell him I got to get plenty of time to get over, you got room right now. You can get over if you want to. I got plenty of time. Uh, uh,
Yeah, yeah, we know the story.
hmm. But
Oh, I'm
but
just
the
I, I'm just glad it came to a peaceful end. I'm glad that
but
love.
Grandma had me on
I
that one.
feel the love in this story that a
Yeah,
mother's love. Through
yeah,
laughter, tears, whatever.
yeah,
Saved your rear end. I'm happy of that, But moms tell you they love you, and they show it's right. They show you they love you, and they put themselves in harm's way for you, Mama Bear.
yeah,
And they're there. And we love our dads, but it's just our Mama Said program, and Mama said a lot, and they did say I love you a lot. And if little Robert, when he fell down and bashed his little knee, and that's what Mama's gift.
mm,
They patch you up. They put that old Mama's also was kind of rough though. They would say, "Now this is gonna hurt," and
yeah.
you'd have a cut or a bruise or something or whatever, and you trusted them that it'll be okay. It'll just burn for a minute, but and then you're thinking, and when that hits, and you're thinking, "Mama, you said for a minute, I'm on fire here."
But when Mama ever had to put the my phylate on my cuts or scrapes or whatever, and she did, the old red stuff that they put on there that burnt like fire. As soon as it hit the cut, she was blowing. She'd blow. As soon as it hit the
That's
cut,
true.
you know,
That's
they knew
true.
how to blow just right to get it not to hurt as bad.
And ain't it
And that's mom.
amazing that this is the generation that you never said you were sick and didn't want to go to school or didn't feel like going to school because they shoved castor oil down you and you never wanted that again. So even if you were sick, you'd say, I'm going to school. My
I
dad
never.
talked about that
No.
hundreds of times. about how that the cure was worse than what he had, so he just went on to school. I never
Yeah.
had that in my life, but that's a lot of people talk about that.
Mm.
I don't know if Mama's ever gave that or not, but I know. Well, I guess his mama did. My grandma was a sweet lady. She was pretty tough. She
I
she
remember.
didn't, she didn't take no flack.
I can remember grandma, my grandma talking about my mom when she was little. And there were five children total, and there was two older than mom. And they put a snake in front of the door, dead snake. And my grandmother is terrified of snakes. And they were living in Wisconsin at the time, and she opened the door, and there was that snake. And all three of those youngins were laughing. And Mama was laughing right along with them till they realized just how mad Grandma got. And the oldest one was the first one she got to. And the beatings commenced. Then the next oldest was she got to the next oldest, and the beatings continued. My mama was going just as fast as her little legs would take. Grandma right on her heels. Where are you going? I'm going to my grandma's. Her grandmother lived right up the road from them. She didn't want none of that. She wanted her grandma.
Once you see what the first one gets, you don't want none of that. You're ready to get out of town.
No, I didn't ever pull that on my grandma. I was always a little too afraid to do that. So,
Oh yeah, my grandmother. I didn't. I never met the one on my mom's side. She was gone before I was born. But of course, my dad's side, she. But I told you a story about her backing my dad down, having fun with that. But let's see, I seen Dad home pulled his tooth on the weekend in our living room. Oh Lord, it's rough growing up.
nope.
It's rough growing. By the way, I didn't have the castor oil, but I know what we did have. I won't say the name, but if you know anything about the Rossville area, Ross Vegas, we sometimes call it, there was a doctor over there around the duck pond, and he was known for giving you a penicillin shot for everything. It didn't matter what you went in for. We always claimed he bought that stuff by the 55-gallon drum. And I'd hate Mama say, I got to take you to the doctor. I say, no, you can doctor me here. Sure enough, no matter what I had, he'd come in and he had these big old hands. As he got older, his hands were shaking. And I'm, that's a hard shot anyway. And he'd say, let's get your shot. Thankfully, by the end, he turned that over to a nurse because there was a couple of times he jabbed me. I mean, it was like, it hurt. The jab hurt worse than the shot. I mean, getting the penicillin, but he must have had a deal with the makers of it or something. I mean, that guy, everything. I'd go in. I mean, I'd say, I don't need a shot. He'd say, oh, well, we'll just have to see about that. Let's see what you got first. He'd knock around on you. By the way, did doctors still do that when you're a kid? When you go in, no matter what you had, they always want to hit your knee and see if your leg would shoot out.
Yeah.
That doctor did that every single time. I'm like, my knee's up. My knee's okay, doc. It's my belly. I'd beg Mama not to take me there. Well, don't take me there. She'd say, well, you got to get better.
I got real mad at a doctor. And my granddad took my doctor, and my grandmother had something to say in my defense on this one too. It didn't stop the consequences, but she did have something to say on it. But I cut my finger and I had to get stitches. And back then they didn't believe in doing anything to numb it, pre-numbing. He just stuck the needle in the cut. He said you're going to feel a little, stab here, a little shot here. And I thought my finger hadn't hurt really since I'd cut it till he stuck that needle in it. And I yanked my hand back from him, and that stuff went shooting across the room. And we had a good long discussion, about how, his questionable parentage, some other things that wasn't really nice, and where he could place that needle for the next shot and everything else. And my granddad said, they're going, boy, 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 boy. And we was on our way home. And he said, where'd you learn to talk like that? I said, you when you get mad. Yeah, I got home and Grandpa he went in there and I heard him talk to my grandmother. He went in there calling her name. And she met him. She said, well, talked him down a little bit. He never said a word about it. But he really contributed to the flatness of the back of my head because every time he heard me say something that was a little bit off color after that, I got whacked.
It looks like you said a lot of words there, Robert. Look at the back of your head.
Well, it wasn't just him beating on it.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of them.
Okay. They were lining up for you. You're like at
Well, I
the
did
dunk
enough to get
tank.
everybody fired up. You know, it was. I would say it was hard being me. It wasn't hard. It's just the consequences, but that's okay. I was willing to deal with the consequences. So Uh-oh. There was an old doctor at Regal that gave a shot for everything and always wore this old time stainless steel head mirror. I never quite understood that whole thing.
That'd be a little traumatic for a kid. It's like see this guy come at you with that thing on and a big shot.
Yeah. 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 I guess it was to light up the area that he was fixing to stab, you know?
By the way, moms were really good about that. If you were going to the doctor, because that's a kid's question every time you take them. Am I going to get a shot?
Yeah.
And dad would be like, well, I hope so. I'm going to tell him to give you one. But moms would always be politicking. Well, I don't know. We'll just have to
We'll
see.
see.
Maybe
Yeah.
not. Let's just see what the doctor has to say. They kind of talk you into it, and sure enough, you get a shot. Well, and after it's over, it's it was best for you. You're going to get better now,
And then
quicker
they take you
now.
home and then they love up on you.
Yeah, and
And you take care of it.
and then you
You
try
know,
to milk it for an extra day, and your dad comes in and looks and goes, "Hey, boy,
get up.
well, you're not sick anymore."
Oh, yeah. There's some wood out there that needs to be cut.
Yeah,
Sweat this out of you.
yeah. You just need to work. I've been too easy on you. You need to get out there and do some manual labor. And Mama, that's when Mama better come out. Now you leave him alone. Now he's been sick.
Yeah. You get over it, be getting over pneumonia or something. Your dad would come out there and say, "Here, snort some of this dirt so you can rub some dirt on it and get out here and start cutting these wood up so we can have some wood for the fireplace tonight." And your mama would be like, and Mama come through, "I'll go out there and cut the wood." And then you'd
Oh
feel
yeah.
bad. Then you'd feel bad and you wouldn't let her do it, and then she'd chew on you.
Oh yeah.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
But there were times though when Mama said, "I love you." They did, but they had another one there. We have to throw that in there because when you did make Mama mad, she might say something like this: "I love you, but."
Yeah.
That
Or
means you stepped over a line. I love
yeah.
you, but
Or my personal favorite. I love you, and this is going to hurt me more than you. Now that was never true. Never, never. I don't ever believe it hurt her more than me.
and then you had to
Oh,
hear, "I can't believe you made me do that."
yeah. I didn't make you do nothing. You didn't have to do that.
And then sometimes Dad got home and gave you another one. So
Yeah.
I didn't give him a spanking. Well, yeah, he needs round two. I don't think he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You're
I
right.
joke. I didn't get a lot of spankings. I really didn't. But we knew better. We knew better to get in
Well,
trouble.
look, I did get quite a bit when I was younger before I came down to live with my grandparents, but uh, a lot of it, you know, it was to the point to where I'd do it just to see if they would spank me or discipline me. You
I
know,
never did that.
it
You
was,
know,
yeah,
sometimes TV gets it right. I mean, every once in a while. And if you've ever watched the Waltons, there's one episode. I think they really capture this, and it has all the elements, and it has the elements of kids not understanding they did wrong, could have went very tragic. It's without going through the whole story. They took a calf back from a guy and hid it because to them they didn't want it to be killed. To them, it was a pet. But anyway, there's this great scene. They're looking, the kids get lost. They're out in the dark, and they go out, and the brother and the dad, and they find them and they bring them home. And so there's this great scene where the dad's sitting down in a rocking chair in front of the fireplace. Mom's been up, tending to them, making sure they're, fed and cleaned and all this stuff, and giving them mother's love. And then mom comes back down, and she's trying to soften that blow up because he's she said they're afraid they're going to get a spanking. And he said, well, don't you think they deserve one? Of course, moms are never going to agree. Like, well, I don't think they'll do it again. They didn't understand. And he makes a great point because, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he says, basically, what I do now will affect them for the rest of their lives. And there's truth in that, how I handle this. And that is it's at every parent's discretion how you handle. And there's lots of ways to handle. There's not just one way. And you can see this, agonizing thing where he's still upset about it. He doesn't like what they did. Obviously, it's caused some problems. They could have died. He wants to make a point, but he also loves his kids, and he basically says, I'm we're all tired. He said, listen, nobody's going to get a spanking tonight. So she has him come on down, and he has this heart to heart with them. And then after they get done, mom embraces them and walks them back up. But that scene, I think, is representative of what a lot of parents go through. Is this mutual agreement on what's the discipline going to be? I mean, how do we punish them, but in a way that brings about a way that they'll handle this better the next time? But it's not so soft that they think, well, I'm not going to get in any trouble. It's again, every parent handles that a little different. And we kind of joke on here about all the spankings and stuff, but I always say there's a lot of tools in the tool bag, and you gotta know how to use each one at the appropriate time. And that, I think that comes from experience. It comes from wisdom. It comes from prayer. It comes from knowing your kids. And, I think you adjust that as they grow. Obviously, you want them to become a young adult. You adjust that. But moms are central in that. I mean, they really are, because they are that kind of that advocate and mediator between that. And they realize, and again, they've spanked us too, and they want the best for you, just like dad. But moms and dads have, had a lot of discussion, and they do have a lot of discussion about what's appropriate. And if you can't come to an agreement, then you're going to have problems in your marriage. You've got to come to an agreement on what that's going to look like. And a mother's love plays a big part. Nothing against dads, but it plays a big part in that. Because let me say it this way: my dad, he disciplined, but the problem is sometimes he disciplined in anger, which is not good. Moms are really good to bring time, space into a situation. It's very important that we take time and we discipline according to make it a learning opportunity, and not in anger. And that's where things can go sideways. Moms are not, I don't want to paint dads bad, because I think they realize this, but you bring a time factor in there, and mom's able to do that. They're able to just sit and talk. And I just think that's so important. And we don't have the full family structure. We miss a lot of that. Anyway, that's how it worked for me. And that's how it works between me and my wife. And my wife played the same role. It was very important. And as we were younger, that adjusted over time. You just learn. We say there is a book on parenting. It's called the Bible, but a lot of people don't read it and follow it. But all the things that you need are in there. And a lot of people, if they didn't really have good parenting, they don't really. There are some things that we, by instinct, we handle, but there's things we need instruction in, and they just don't. Go to the big box store and just watch how some people parent, and it's obvious there's been breakdowns in our society.
Now, Tireman brought up a good point here on this one. All right. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying the worst whoopings you ever got from Mama, was when you scared her. When she got scared that what you was doing could have gotten you hurt. All right. But what he's saying here, we didn't have anything like children today to take from us that would have bothered us. When we were kids, we go outside, we found a stick. We were happy. That became a toy. It became a rifle. It became a sword. It became all this other stuff. And how you going to go out there and take sticks away from kids? You're not going to. That's just the thing. You know, Today they've got, their iPods, they got their little phones, they got all this stuff here that can be taken away. But one of the things that it does teach in the Bible, that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And there are times when a whooping is needed. I'm not talking about a beating. I'm not talking about going overboard with it. But a good whooping will hammer the home point, the point home. I said the home point. That's my verbal dyslexia kicking in. But sometimes that point needs to be hammered home. That is not acceptable. Like how many little boys said the wrong thing to a little girl that he shouldn't have said, and Daddy lit him up. I didn't ever do that. I saw the consequences from somebody else's actions and learned I didn't want that to happen to me. But that's a viable thing. Today are the consequences that we're teaching children. Okay, well, you go sit over there in timeout for a little while, or you don't get your phone for a little while, or we're going to ground you. You didn't. There's no fear for consequences. There's no consequences to your actions, and that needs to be taught. And whoopings are good for that, not beatings. A good spanking is good for that. It teaches you there's consequences for your actions. And I got up on my soapbox there, and I could continue on that. But like Michael said right there, whipping kept me in school and out of trouble. You didn't cut classes because you didn't want to get the whooping that you was going to have when your daddy found out that you was down there on the creek fishing all day instead of having your honey in school where you was supposed to be. You know, or you wasn't out there playing with that stick. You was in school. Punking people in the head with a pencil. But there's consequences. But today there's no real consequences, and a lot of these children have grown up with that mentality. And then they talk about the difference between Gen Xers and Gen Zs and all that. Somehow, and I think it started with it being bad to spank a child, we have gradually went down this slope to where instead of being John Wayne's, we've turned into Pee Wee Herman's. I mean, come on now. I mean, that's a bit excessive, but does that sound like I'm all way off in left field there?
No, I think, and of course, in our generation, we would talk more about that if you had someone much younger. It has been taught and is promoted that it's not good to spank. And there are parents who have never spanked their children. They don't believe in it. And they'll tell you, I don't believe in it. I'm not going to do it. There's other ways, other methods. And that's they're the parent. That's to their discretion. Yep. How they handle that. I mean, that's important. As long as any punishment's handled appropriately, not excessive, whatever that is. But we're seeing kids today who they're not able to handle their emotions. And you talk about taking things away. That's not even happening much because they take away, and kids go. Some kids, not all kids. Some kids are going berserk. They're going berserk because you took their game away, their phone away, their whatever. And somewhere along the line, something has happened. I'm not an expert on child rearing. I have taken parenting classes, and the one I took was faith-based. I can actually teach that class. And it was one of the tools in the tool bag, it was court approved, was how to spank. And there was it was a certain way, and it was only that way where you're supposed to. Now, I didn't get that with my dad. My dad just did it however Dad did it. And by the way, it was never like that, like they taught in that parenting class. And I've mentioned this before, raising a granddaughter. And I was asked at the beginning, do you spank your children? And I was thinking on it and, how do I answer this? Because I know, I'm not going to lie, but I know this is an important point. And before I could even sing, they said, because and this was said to me by authorities, we don't want you spanking ever the child. And it's on the form. And I said, well, and what I've told you earlier is what I told them was there's a lot of tools in the tool bag. That's one of many. That's how I'm going to answer that question. He looked at me for a minute and he said, good enough. And he moved along. I never checked the box. Now I can say that's been minimal. I didn't have to, but
Yeah.
you have to. Some, I believe that, and but all the tools. That's not the first. It's not always the last. Now being a lot older. That's it's way different now. But I'm talking about when they're little bitty kids. Um, there has to be some sort of discipline there. Again, we could poll people and we would get a lot of differences of opinion on this, and that's fine. Like I said, as long as your way works and it's not excessive and it's worked for you, then fine. I mean, you're the parent. The
Yeah.
state is not the parent. All the state is there just to make sure people are not abusing their kids. But the children God's given to you, and it's our responsibility to introduce them back to God. It's our introducing to prepare them to be an adult. And Lord knows we've got a gap there to work hard, to be respectful, to do all those things, to learn, all those things that we were to teach them because we only have them a short space of time. And I remember a teacher doing it, where actually as a principal, and he took a ruler, and this was years ago. And he said he started breaking that ruler up, and he said, "This is the amount of time that your child is in school." We laid that to the side, and he broke. This is the amount of time, however long it was. This is your child is sleeping. Put that to the side. Then he'd break it up. This is the amount of time your kid is on, and he just using examples back in the day, MTV, or now to be the phones, social media, talking to their friends, making videos. Lay that to the side. Then he'd break another one. This is the amount of time. And he got down, he had this little section left. He said, this is the amount of time you have with your child.
Yep.
And what you do with that is going to decide what happens to them the rest of their life.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest visual demonstrations I've ever seen, because the most dedicated parent, you're not there you can't be. It's impossible to be there with your child 24/7. They sleep, they're off with friends, they're in school, they may be at camp, whatever. There's things, and you get that little bit of time with them. And as they get older, that may even get shorter. you know, you start out, you spend all your time. I mean, nowadays people take extended time away from work because it's so important, that bond. And those early days, and by the way, they have, what is it called? What is that called? The tier, the first day of school for the first ones that's going into Head Start or whatever it is. Oh, there's a name. Somebody pop it in the comments. It's for all the parents to go cry. They have a little, what is this called? Something breakfast. It's where they all just go cry and try to eat something, but they have a hard, they let you walk your child to the room. That's like the last time ever. They say they got to break that afterwards, so they take them, take care of that for you. But, somebody remember that. I can't remember what it's called, but as they grow, they get more and more interest. They get more and more things they want to be involved with, and that doesn't involve you. Yeah. And so your time gets down. And I remember that principal, this is how old this was. He said, one of the sections he said was, this is Axl Rose's time, Guns N' Roses, because they're listening to, I know every kid didn't do that, but the point was made. Today it would be Taylor Swift, right? For some of the girls. I mean, honestly. And so, and maybe not in every household. I'm just saying, honestly, that you get a little bit of time.
Yeah. But even with the discipline and stuff like that, when you scared mama, I'm gonna lasso this rabbit and drag it back over here. When you scared mama, and I mean, that was some of the worst whoopings ever, was if you scared your mother. She thought you were going to get hurt, or you could get hurt, or somebody else was going to get hurt, and she would light you up. But you scared her, and you couldn't have scared her if she didn't love you. There ain't no way. So even discipline from mama, even if it was worse than what daddy ever thought about. It was done out of love. It wasn't done out of no malice or nothing like that. And people confuse that, a good spanking or a good getting a point across with them. Oh, well, I can't believe they would treat their child like that. Can you believe that? She whooped him right here in front of everybody. Can you believe? Yeah, she loved him or her. She loved that child. She disciplined. She's exercising the right to discipline her child and
You
teach
know,
them wrong.
nowadays parents are afraid to do that in public.
Yeah, and
A lot
that's
of them. I'm not saying all, but a lot of them, they're afraid
yeah,
to do that in public.
yeah,
And
and that's
there was another one besides fear, though, Rob. Another one. I got to add one there. There's fear if you embarrass mom in the store.
oh,
Come on now. Come on. I know.
yeah, yeah,
I know you did at least
yeah.
once.
That was the other one. Oh, you want me to run down that rabbit hole?
Well,
Oh,
give me one example of something you did. I think you mentioned one in a funny one day. Smack
I
somebody on
probably
the
did,
was it?
and it was funny. My mother went right after I was born up till I was 3, 4, 5 years old. Everybody thought my mom was my big sister. She looked very young, and we had gone to Penny's. And I was going through this stage where if I saw somebody bent over, I'd run over and whack them right on the hiney. And I was hiding. You know those big round circular things that hang clothes on or used to
Oh
hang
yeah,
clothes on? Oh,
it's a
I
good
was up
high
hiding
spot.
in there. I was in a bunker, dude. I was hiding, and Mama couldn't find me. And there was this lady bent over, older lady was bent over looking trying some shoes on, and Mama said I come flying out of there and just whack. I didn't know this lady from nobody, but I was like 4 or 5 years. I was probably old enough to know better, but too young to care. And I done literally, and my mama disowned me. She come up and she grabbed me. Well, first of all, the woman that I whacked turned around like a mad bull. You could see the steam and the snot coming out of her nose. Yeah, I mean, she was hot. And mama come run up there and she grabbed me by the arm. She says, I'm telling your mama when I get you home, and drug me right out of there.
Yeah, you didn't want to do that.
Oh,
I saw this. And I know we have all seen it, and it just I'm still I know it happens, but you just think you're not going to see it. But I was at the big box store, and there was a family come out, and I never seen parents just so let a child that was probably no more than about 5 or 6 talk to them the way this child talked to them, and even picked up rocks and was throwing at his mama. I mean, I thought, what has happened?
mm-hmm.
My
I'm a
mama
big,
used to say, "You embarrass me, I'll embarrass you." Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey,
well,
I come up in the church in the South, out in the country, and I've seen this more than once. Where Daddy was not my daddy didn't preach, but I've seen the daddy preaching. Little boy, a couple of them get in trouble. I've seen the belt come off while he's still preaching. Got him up, wore the rear end out, set him back down, put the belt on, never missed a beat. If you've never seen that, it's a sight
that's a
to
pro.
behold.
That's a pro right there. Oh, that's a pro. But
People are listening, going, "Do what?"
huh? They got whooping.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
they got whoopings. They got whoopings in church.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Around here we call that tenderizing, getting ready for baptism.
My dad had this thing, and my sisters remember this well, but my dad had this thing, and he had this big old belt, and it didn't have it had the 2 holes. It was the 2 hole kind of belt, big wide belt, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh
And
yeah.
my dad had this thing. I always like it was like Matt Dillon, getting ready to pull the gun. If my dad, he would kind of grab the loop of the belt and he would pull it a little bit, and he would say, if I pull it out, if I pull this part of the belt out, it's coming all the way off, and you're getting a spanking. That was my only warning, and that was bad that I got there. He would be mad, and I'd be like, if you saw that, you stopped dead in your tracks. head down. Don't want that because that sound. I don't know what was worse, the spanking or the sound of it coming out of those loops.
I still think, yeah, John Wayne said it best. He said that it was rather evident that the children today, and he was talking about back then, that a lot of children today do not recognize the sound of a 2-inch leather belt being jerked out of the belt loops.
Well, and by the way, that was real leather back then. A lot of belts today are
Yeah.
fake. They don't. I don't even know if they hurt. I don't know. I guess all of it would, no matter how you use it. But we knew better. We knew better. Mama knew how to get her point across and still say, "I love you."
Yeah.
And there's been songs written about if I could just hear my mama say that one more time or something. It's hard. It really is hard. And when you lose your mom and dad, you can't go home again. Home's gone. Doesn't matter if it's still there or not. They're not there. Home is gone. You can never go home again. And I'm one day in the by and by, I'll see my parents again. Be able to hear my mom say that again. However long that's going to be, I don't know. But I'm glad I got to hear it, and I'll hear it again one day.
And we'll
Amen.
all cherish it. And cherish those memories. Don't just let them go. You cherish that. You hang on to them. You keep them in your heart. You keep what they taught you in your heart because they did teach you, and it was taught with love. And you keep all that in your heart. Our parents shape us, and our grandparents or whichever. They shape the people that we're going to become. Yeah. I guess you could say that I'm a little bit over the keel at times. I go a little far out there, and that's been a lot of what I learned growing up. But in my heart, I love everybody. And if I ain't picking on you, I don't like it. I don't pick on people. That's not something that I share with people that I don't take care for. Now, fortunately, I don't meet many people that I don't like.
You must like me then because you pick at me a lot.
I do. You my brother. Of course I'm going to pick on you. I pick
It's
on Earl a lot and the Alabama thing and Cook too. And I pick on Alabama a lot, but I love them. They're my brothers, and my sugar britches. I love my sugar britches to death. We got to have him on here. Is Sugar Britches, are you still on here? I think he's done gone.
he might be
If you're
gone.
still on here, you're going to be on the show here for long. We're going to put your little honey on here. I need everybody to meet the hardest worker in Chatsworth. I mean, he works hard. Daniel's a go-getter. I like my Sugar Britches. And he's my buddy. So,
By the way, as we get near the end of the program, however long we'll go, I think we're probably near the end. Just a couple of news and notes. We're kind of announcing in each of the programs. We're now on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. That's two of the newest ones. Appreciate all the follows and support. We got new people coming on all the time. We just did our first interview for our very first Main Street USA, highlighting community, small business, all those wonderful things we love about small town community and family and all that. And we're excited about that. You'll be seeing that in a couple of days. And we've got some other ones planned. Our merch store is ready, and that will probably be the link will probably be sent out tomorrow, but we'll be building links within our pages. And we just want you to see that. A lot of options. Rob, there's probably 250 options of stuff on there. We worked on it forever. There's a little bit of something for everybody. We try to keep the prices as low as we could, but there is for the first 2 weeks. I think it's either 20 or 25% off for the first, and we're going to be running other specials as we go. We're going to give discounts. And so we appreciate you taking a look at that. That's been a lot of work put in that. And we're excited about that because it has. We want you to have some of the merchandise, so you'll see us soon with hats on and coffee mugs and all that good stuff. As we've been waiting to get some too. So we're doing more and more shows live, and we're trying to do as many of them as we can live. And we appreciate you coming in here from all the different streams. Thank you for forwarding it out. I know some of you do that. You share it. You tell people about it, and that's how we're growing. We're growing slow and steady, and it's through efforts of people just like yourself. And we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Hopefully there's some things. Some people tell us they love everything. Some people tell us it's one or two things they really like that we do. But hopefully we got something that you like. And we're even talking about some gardening and cooking stuff and all that. We're
Yeah,
looking forward to. We got to do something in the wintertime. You know, we won't be outdoors as much, but we'll do
I'm gonna
some winter
garden.
stuff too. We're going to
I'm gonna
garden.
garden.
Yeah.
The heck with this gardening when it's 100 degrees out there, heat index 180, and humidity of the ocean, and gnats everywhere. The heck with that. I'm gonna wait till the wintertime.
But you are going to the ocean soon.
Yes. Yes,
And
we own the
hopefully,
campground.
hopefully going to send us some video from there.
My
And
intentions, now, I don't know exactly where we're going to be at, but my intentions is at some point in time, Friday evening, to be popping in on the live show on
yeah,
the beach. See, I'll be 8 o'clock our time, which would be 7 o'clock their time. So it's going to be pushing it, but maybe I'll get y'all a good beach sunset. We'll see. It's supposed to be cloudy.
that'd be okay. A cloudy day at the beach beats a sunny day anywhere else. Just
You're
about.
right. Just about. Not
Just
every day.
about. Not
A
everything,
cloudy
but
day,
just
a
about.
sunny day at the beach might now, because us fair skinned people get sunburnt. I remember my mama slathering me up with stuff after I got sunburnt many a time, aloe vera and everything else. As redheaded and freckled, that just you burn.
Well, by the way, before we go, it reminded me of that. My first time I think it was my first time to Florida. I got really bad sunburn, and we weren't used to beach and the wind and all the, and I was jumping out of the water, so I got on my shoulders really bad. I was probably 11 years old, but my sister got a little bit of sunburn too, just not meaning to. They tried to block all that, but just reflective, all this stuff off the sand or whatever she got. So she was crying. We was at my aunt's house. My aunt was a fiery little redhead. She was tough as nails, and the neighbors. This is Florida, you'll figure West Palm Beach area. The
Yeah.
neighbors called the police on a crying baby, and I'm going to tell you, those two officers that came out, I will bet you they wish they were doing a takedown of somebody with 15 active warrants than they were instead of meeting her that night. I never seen a woman lied into some police officers and made them feel smaller, lower than dirt than I did that night. And she talked loud enough that the neighbor got a full description of what she thought about them too. And the only thing those officers said at the end was, "We're
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, ma'am. Y'all have a good night. Hope baby gets feeling better," and left. I guarantee if another call had came in, they wouldn't have took it from that
No,
location.
no, 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 no.
I will never forget that.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and put this out there. I when I'm in the water, I'm the guy out there with a shirt on, long sleeved usually. Because I don't like getting sunburned.
Yeah, I
And
don't
you're
either.
lucky if I ain't got a hat on because about any bald headed man will testify. You get your head sunburned, you ain't sleeping.
Well, if you get that head sunburn, you're gonna have to wear a scarf or something over it because you'll blind us on the show. We can't have all that glow coming off your head like that.
Where's my light at? What light? Look there. Hmm. Yeah, be a big red light. You'll probably see it from up there. If I get my head sunburned, I walk outside. What? We've never had that. She's never had that issue.
Ah.
Yeah. You know why? She's got hair. Good thing is I don't have to worry about my lower back, my back, and getting sunburned too bad. There's enough hair back there to kind of cover it a little bit. I'm struggling. I'm follically impaired, cranially follically impaired. Yeah,
That's okay, Robert. We love you just like you are.
yeah. Streamlined, swinging through the jungle.
Yeah.
You know, I bet if Cook, now, keep in mind, Cook is a big old boy. If he ever gets a silver streak down the middle of his back, you won't ever be able to take him to the Chattanooga Zoo. They'll lock him up. Well, the
I'm
silverback's cut loose. Drink him.
I'm still amazed that he said he ate 209 shrimp.
16 pancakes.
and 16. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
That just makes
Two,
me hurt to even think about that.
209 shrimp. You know how many pounds that is? Oh my goodness. That's a lot of shrimp. That is a hungry boy right there. No wonder he's so big. He was growing for half his life.
And pancakes fill you up. I mean, you get pancakes, you think, I'll take care of this. I just get one or two, and I mean, sometimes with the other food I eat, I can't finish it. He
Yeah.
is 16, man. I can't even imagine. And syrup, that kind of bothers me anyway. If I eat too much, it bothers my stomach. I
He
couldn't
probably used
imagine
to
the
have a gun on
butter
his.
and syrup that he had for 16 pancakes.
My goodness.
Wow.
No. No. Yeah. I'd have been sick. I'll go admit that. So.
I bet back in the day you ate quite a few crystals. I bet you
Oh yeah.
did.
Oh yeah. Oh, we could tear some crystals. Oh.
I
Not
don't
White
know the
Castle.
number.
Not White Castle.
I do know that me and a couple, three friends went in and ordered over 100, and we ate them all. We stacked the boxes up in a pyramid on the table.
No, he wasn't doing an eating contest.
It's
That
just an
was
all
just
you can
him
eat.
eating.
That was
Uh,
just an all you can eat.
yeah. Now, granted, at the time, Cook was 6'4". How much did he weigh?
Oh, a good 350. Played a lot of sports, very athletic. He could really move on his feet. Big boy, but he was an in shape big boy. And that boy had an appetite. Oh, I don't think he's on here. He's been coming all of our lives. But I'll say this: on Thanksgiving Day, he had a route he took. So he started out at home. Mama's Thanksgiving meal got done first. Then he went to some friends. They lived on the same street. He ate there. I think he had another place he went. Ours was always later in the afternoon, and he would end up at our house and ate. He'd eat like 4 or 5 times on Thanksgiving Day, just going to the different places around. But I remember, I don't remember 16 pancakes or nothing like that. But I remember he came to our house and we'd had hot dogs the day before, and we had some left over. We grilled out. We had all these hot dogs, and so she didn't know he was coming, so she didn't prepare enough food, and she said, "Well, we got some hot dogs that we had left over. Would you like them?" Sorry, my granddaughter's trying to tell me she loves me. Love you too. Um, so I got to take time for that. So
Yeah.
anyway, we had all these hot dogs left over. She put some chili on them, and he ate like 2 full plates of hot dogs. There's granddaughter, and so what happened is we never had leftovers. We always Cook always take care. We never throwed food out. She'd just
Yeah.
save it for Cook. She'd say, "Cook, I got you some food. I got you some chicken. I got this, and or I've got some beef stew. I've got some homemade soup." And
Yeah.
we took care of him. It was an honor. He's always been a member of our family. He's not. He wasn't just a friend. He truly is a brother. Oh Lord,
You're getting
which
photo bombed.
I know. I see that.
Oh,
Coco,
Coco. Coco and Kaylee.
Coco, and Kaylee, 2 peas in a pod.
There you go. Your granddaughter and your fur baby. Coco, Coco's fixing to bite you on the ear or lick you.
Yeah,
One of
she don't like me, so you might better move her. Remember, she don't like men too much. She's okay with me, but
Oh, oh, look at her puppy dog hugs.
I did get a lick. That's a miracle right there in itself.
Oh, she's hoping you'll save her. Look at her. All right. Well, y'all remember one of the greatest things Mama ever said. I love you. And for those of us that don't have mamas anymore, we don't get to hear that again right now. We still have that message in our hearts.
Just telling you bye.
So, all right. So y'all keep Mama in your heart. You keep that love she felt for you. Hold it dear. Don't let it go.
And Rob, I'm gonna get us in trouble on the way out. So Mama said I love you. So when our wives are mad at us, they just need to remember that Mama said I love you, and they did while they're mad. They got to remember, okay, to tell us they love us. You don't have to comment. It's okay.
No, 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 no. I got this.
Oh, this ought to be good.
I think I'm pretty sure that my wife can be just as mad as the world. I mean, sitting around and taking steel wool and knit a barbed wire fence. She's so mad, and she can still tell me she loves me.
Amen.
Amen. But you know, she can't admit that here. She has to say this.
Oh, I love it.
Now you got yourself in trouble there. You know, that's okay. That's okay. Uh, but I'm pretty sure Miss Lynn could be just as mad at you as she could be, and be mad enough to sit around with a lap full of steel wool knitting barbed wire fencing and still tell you she loves you.
Yeah, she could, and she would say it this way. She'd say, "I love you, but I don't want to talk to you right now." She's got to have her calm down period, like Jackie Gleason.
Understand that. We,
Calm down.
you know, I don't know if it's just you or just me, but husbands tend to bring that out in wives. It seems like
Sometimes.
sometimes. Yeah, we'll cover that on another day.
Yeah, it's
In
another day.
a lot more friendly
Let's
environment.
let's let's go out with love. We're feeling the love. Mom
Yeah.
said they love you, so
Yes.
we're going to stay with
Our
that.
wives said they love us too.
Yes,
Yes, and we
wives
love
tell us they
them.
love.
We love them, and we cherish them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Get your points in, Robert. She's
Yeah.
listening.
You know what else can I say here, baby? I love you more than coffee.
Is that like a greeting card thing? You know?
Mm, yes.
Oh, we're gonna get in trouble. We better we
Okay,
better
we got
move
to
on.
stop this. Love you guys. God bless you. Y'all like, follow, and let us know how we're doing. And we will see y'all live Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Salute. Good night, Cornbread Nation.